want to attract your attention to something that we hear every day and maybe we don't think much about it. What is a priest? Catholic Church has priests. So, what is a priest? If you look at the internet, you find out that there are not really clear definitions of it, except that it looks like acknowledging something that we see, but not the history really of it. We can gather from the internet and Google and all the rest that a priest is someone who has been set apart. And I think that is the most important. Somebody that has been consecrated, most of the time with oil, special oil. Consecrated, set apart, marked as different. And we know that in the Old Testament, in the Jewish history, the priests were not only consecrated, set apart, anointed with oil, but also given special garments that designated them as priests, that were symbolic of their functions. In those days, those priests were mediators. They were the people that came closer to God than the rest of the people. They were offering sacrifices. They had functions that were not those of, Peter, Jack, and John. They were special and recognized so. They had authority. They were leaders, not only religiously, but also in those days, a kind of doctor. The people that were having leprosy, lepers, if they were cleansed, they were asked to go to the priest that would stamp it that yes, they are healed. So now, should we go to priests to get forgiven by God? To be prayed over? For advice? Even though priests are just ordinary people, and they may as well encourage you, pray for you, but what God tells us as Christians is that we are a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. So, in the eyes of the Lord, for a Christian, every member of his family is a priest, part of a holy nation, which means that all of us, individually and as a collective body, we have been set apart, consecrated. That's the difference between the Old Testament and the New Testament, between Judaism and Christianity. We have all been set apart. I am set apart. You are set apart. There are no people that are specially consecrated. We are all consecrated and called the same way, one by one. Consecrated, set apart, anointed, not with oil, but with the touch of God Himself. A holy touch. And what are we doing? We are expected by God to be an army, standing in the gap. Watch people, watch men and women, check in on the rampart and the first to say, yes, the enemy is coming. So that people inside will know and get prepared. And it is written that if you don't know that, if you don't do that, you see the enemy coming and you say nothing. The blood of whosoever is killed will be on our own hands. God forbid. The priests, we priests, are to pray, to intercede with God on behalf of all those that cannot do it for themselves, either because they don't know God, or they are too weak, or there is another problem. We are a voice for the voiceless, intercessors and ambassadors of reconciliation that tell people, be reconciled with God. God is calling you. We are like a watch ringing and telling people, time to wake up. Wake up and see. Open your eyes and see what is coming. Listen. Study. Stand up and be counted. A priest is a holy function. And we have not been chosen because we are so good or so faithful or so marvelous when we pray. No. We have been chosen because God desired us to be there in that position. And He equips us, He clothes us with righteousness. He has given us an armor, because priests are soldiers also. On the battlefield, the chaplain, the padre, like they call, is the one that has no weapon of warfare as we know them. No Kalashnikov, no pistol, no armament of that kind. But he's covered from head to toes with the helmet of salvation, the breastplate of righteousness, the belt of truth, the underwear of the priest, the boots of the gospel, the shield of faith, the sword of the Spirit, the mantle of praise, and covered in the righteousness of God. So we are priests for today. Answer the call, my friend. Don't be afraid.